Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Culture and People Cast. Today we have Bob Lehto with us. Bob, in a few sentences, would you tell us who you are and what you do?
Sure. Yeah. Hi. My name is Bob Lehto. I'm a people and culture uh, geek advocate. I don't know what you want to call me. Got about 2 decades of experience, mostly in and around San Francisco and the Silicon Valley area. I'm the head of people at a company called OKCoin. If you haven't heard of OKCoin, OKCoin is a fiat to crypto exchange. What that means is you can trade your US dollars, your euros, your Singapore dollars for cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and go in and out. We support about 190 countries around the world. And as head of people, I oversee kind of the people experience at 3 offices in San Francisco. We have an office in Europe and in Singapore. I've got a small but mighty team helping me, and we cover the whole employee experience, everything from recruitment, onboarding, culture and benefits, perks, COVID response, and performance and culture.
Oh my goodness. So I think you're the first head of people in that industry that I've ever talked to. So just real quick education for me and maybe the listeners, what type of talent do you employ?
Good question. Mostly technology. I think I would describe, we're an intersection of technology and finance. Bitcoin is essentially, it's been described as digital gold, money 2.0, the digitally native money. So, we have everyone from software and product engineers that have come from the likes of Airbnb or Facebook. Conversely, we have compliance and legal people that have come from the Federal Reserve and Visa and Goldman Sachs. So it's an interesting mix.
Thank you. That gives me some perspective of humans are humans, but like what kind of talent are we talking about? Very cool. So you've been influencing this people and culture space for 2 decades. What is your favorite part of this type of work?
Oh gosh, it's hard to say what is best. I think when you think about people's experiences, their professional and work experiences, for me, it's really focused on the people and the culture, right? Even if whether you're selling widgets or technology, it's the positive and negative experiences come down to the people and the culture. Did you was that a culture that you thrived in, or was it one that maybe worked for a while but then you repelled against, right? So for me, it's about having kind of the honor and responsibility, if you will, of being in a role that's kind of centered about that people and culture. Going back to the word influence, I think it's that's a big and interesting word, and for me, I kind of have both big and small aspirations around influencing people and culture. On a small daily basis, it's like just really trying to be able to connect and have a positive impact on one coworker, helping them get through a roadblock, something they're struggling with, something like that. On the bigger, more aspirational level, I'd love to be known as having helped put people and culture into the companies that I've worked for that helped make it like the best company that they've ever worked for in their lives. That's a big aspiration, and I only have a little bit of control of that, but that's it's kind of what gets me out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, well, we are seed planters, right? Like planting those seeds, hoping that somebody waters and prunes them effectively, right? That's all we could do.
That's a great metaphor. Sometimes I think of like an orchestra leader or like a conductor, as well. Yeah.
That's cool. Okay. So, as you think about as many organizations as you've worked with and however big or small they were, I'm hearing from a lot of leaders, now and really even before COVID, engaging talent is a challenge, right? What are your overall thoughts on that?
Historically, I would agree that that has been a challenge. My experience in this last year at OKCoin is actually quite the opposite.
Yeah.
And I think there's a few things that go into it for me. I think, yes, everyone is tired of COVID, and again, in San Francisco where I am, the fluctuating work from home orders, and everyone just wants to kind of get together. But the flip side of that is, people through real intention are more connected with their teammates than they've been before. They have autonomy through the work from home arrangement that they probably didn't have in a more centralized office location. And I think also, again, at least in our case, they're really connecting with the purpose. So I think people are feeling more connected in seeing how their work can be for the overall benefit. With all those three ingredients, I've seen a lot of engagement here. Another thing you were asking about, kind of crypto before, and the other thing about crypto, which is interesting, and it's not something I've ever seen in any of the technologies or industries that I've been before. It's a really motley crew. I mean, I gave you kind of some of the backgrounds more on the professional level, but more philosophically, like it's really interesting, Anna. There's libertarians, there are Wall Street capitalists, I've met people that see Bitcoin through kind of a human rights issue. And all of these people are kind of like coexisting and kind of working together, and it's all through that common purpose. And I think for me, purpose drives engagement.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Right. And I love the phrase motley crew. When I thought about cryptocurrency and like the people who worked on it, you really got to be like interested in that, right? So you're coming together with this common interest, which unlike maybe other industries where they're like, I just want to work in IT, or I just want to work in, marketing or HR or something, you're really coming together on this common interest, which is super cool.
There's a lot of ambiguity. There's a lot of ambiguity. I mean, it's about 10 years old, 11 years old now, as an industry, which is pretty young as industries go. I mean, certainly as you compare it to, the internet and in general. And so I often say that it takes kind of like a pioneer spirit. I'm reading a historical book about San Francisco right now, talking about the gold rush and everything. And there's definitely that metaphor of like being a pioneer. It's getting more mainstream every day, but it's you need that pioneer spirit, and not for the faint of heart.
Right. And I don't want to glance over what you said, right? The fact that you feel like engagement is up for your organization in 2020 is a feat. So regardless of your industry, like I have to give you some kudos for that, because I promise you, not everybody that I'm talking to on the show or off the air is feeling that. So could we get tactical for the listeners out there? There's somebody who's either a people leader or maybe even an employee who's saying, yeah, I want to help improve our culture or our people practices. What can they do? What's some tactical advice maybe that they could try tomorrow?
Yeah, I think I'll start to say one statement, which will not seem like rocket science, but then I'll try and get a little more tactical. I mean, I think what's worked for us is really working with intention, but also working with focus. And I have the benefit of working for a brilliant CEO who's really supported me. And when we saw what was happening with COVID and that we were kind of going into lockdown, we really wanted to focus on three things. I think these are pretty universal, but we kind of focused them specifically on kind of the OKCoin group. It was around our company values, and I'll explain in a sec. around employee communication, how we were going to have to change being from that centralized to decentralized. And then just in general, working on resilience, because, a lot of us went into this, probably yourself included, yeah, this is going to be 2 weeks, and here we are 10 months later, right? So we're a pretty young company. The company was actually founded originally back in 2013 with a focus on the Asia market primarily, but we incorporated in San Francisco in 2018, and that created our global headquarters at that point. So most of the people that I'm working with, it's a fairly young group, not young age-wise, but just young together, right? And so with this crisis, if you will, I don't even know if we knew it was a crisis yet, but we wanted to go back to basics. We wanted to focus on our company values, and we wanted that to be like the DNA, as we kind of referred to every day, to kind of get us through this journey. We've got 3 simple ones. Hopefully, I've been at other companies where like people could get 2 out of 5 or whatever, but these are really simple, and I think everyone in OKCoin really gets it. We win as a team, we embrace change, and we do the right thing. And all of those are important, but really kind of focusing on winning as a team, embracing the change, being available for that kind of uncertainty, and again, doing the right thing for our industry, right thing for the company. Again, working from home, not having your boss around your back, just having that mindset. And that's worked really well. The second part, communication, and again, everyone had to do this, but I think it was really about being intentional. Like we knew we were going to go, we knew we were going to lose a lot of the forms of communication that we had, being a very centralized office with that kind of young team still kind of building rapport. So we really focused on, what are we going to use instant messaging for? What are the rules of engagement about email? We incorporated daily stand-ups, which we had not done before on a team level, just so we could all really feel communicated and connected with each other. Some of those things we've continued with, but almost everything has evolved. What I've found is something's typically worked for like 2 or 3 months, and then it starts getting a little stale, and so we just need to kind of, freshen things up a little bit. So that's kind of a constant work in motion, and I rely on on the executive team. We're doing, typically right now we're doing about like quarterly employee surveys. Again, just like what's working for you, Anna, what's not. And trying to get that check, and then kind of course correcting as we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know I'm going long on this. And the final thing I'll say is around resilience. And it's I've tried to lead by example, both being resilient myself, but more as a kind of player coach and buddy to you as an example of like really kind of helping each and every one kind of embrace that change, kind of helping push through some adversity when there might be some roadblocks in front of them, and kind of celebrating kind of the mental toughness. And I don't want to come across just as macho, because I think there's really a flip side to that as well, which, again, kind of leading by example. Even while I think there's a balance to that mental toughness, and it's about, for me, I think it's still in the same resilience bucket, but it's about being vulnerable and kind of giving room to have vulnerability, and to make sure that we're connecting as humans first in our meetings, not just, it's so easy to be so busy, right? And it's like, Anna, where's that, where's that report or whatever. But like, if it's like, are you doing okay? It's not, and it's even like things like changing, how are you? Which is kind of the default is I'm fine, right? It's like, just changing the words and intention to really make sure that you're connecting with people.
Oh, I
I
love
hope that's
all those
helpful.
things.
That's
And
long.
no, there were some amazing tactical things in there in terms of daily stand-ups and demonstrating vulnerability. But I think one of my biggest overarching takeaways is the refresh, right? Is trying
Mm,
something and then adjusting because it is stale, right? I was coaching a
yeah.
leader about halfway through excuse me, the quarantine, Fortune 500 company, and they said, yep, nope, daily stand up still going strong. And I said, well, when's the last time you've, adjusted the time or the length or frequency or whatever? And he's like, no, it's working really good. And I said, you might want to ask, right? Just ask, because it could be now you're just going through the motions and we're taking up time. So I love to hear that you guys are refreshing. So let's,
Yeah, no, yeah. And I'm always, I mean, I'd almost send out an employee survey like every month if I could, but I want to be respectful of people's times, and I want to make sure that when we're asking for things, we're actually taking action on them as well. And of course, we can't always, like, you know, we can't say yes to everything, right? We have to prioritize, but at least we're coming back to the team and kind of sharing, what we can change,
yeah.
and that we hear you. We're listening and we hear you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, listen, I appreciate everything you are doing for people in culture, Bob. I think it's great, both at OKCoin, but overall, just in the world of work. I mean, it's my mission to restore humanity into our work and our
Mm.
workplaces. So thank you for what you are doing for your employees. And thank you for being a guest on the show today.
Thanks so much. It's been great. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Peace and progress, guys.